not an adult sermon. It's a people's sermon. Because we're all mixed in together. And we have this most amazing gospel from the Gospel of John that we must talk about. But first, we have to talk about language. Yes, we all speak English here, and some of us are gifted to be able to speak other languages also. And all of us speak a different kind of language in addition. We all speak human. No matter what our mother tongue was that we were raised with, we all speak the language of human. And the language of human is a little bit different than the language of God. I'll tell you what I mean. Us human beings, we live in a physical universe. If you weren't sure of that this morning when you woke up, you were sure as soon as you walked outside the house and felt rained upon. We are physical beings in a physical universe. And so much of what drives our action are our needs. We need something, and so we go to get it. We feel motivated to do something because we have needs. Let me demonstrate. If you were me right now, your tummy would be rumbling, saying, it was a long time ago since 5:30 and your frosted mini wheats. We all get hungry. We all have need of food. We have other needs also. We get cold, and so we need to wear clothing. What are some of our other needs, kids? Do you not have any other needs? Clothing, that's it? Water. Very good. Yes, my water's right there. Water. What are some of the other basics of life that we have? Shelter. Gotta have shelter. And I couldn't bring in a big to-scale house, so I bought a little birdhouse as a remembrance of how we all need shelter. Even the birds of the air need shelter. What else do we need? Sleep. Oh, that was more than one voice saying sleep is my friend too. Sleep. You know, all kinds of nations around the world have different political philosophies. There are different political entities. They might have very different systems that they live in. But even those various nations of the world pretty much agree on 5 basic needs: food, shelter, clothing, basic medical care. Try growing up without antiseptic. And education. Food, shelter, basic medical care, clothing, water, clean water, and education. If you were to tally up all the time you spend during your day taking care of these needs, you might find that you actually don't have very much room at the end of the day for anything else. If you tallied up all the time it took to earn money for your food and to pay for your shelter, to go to school, who spends a lot of time going to school here? Yeah, hands held high. Who spends a lot of time teaching school here? More hands held high. We spend time going to urgent care or the doctors and spend a lot of time paying for that expensive medical care. Worthwhile, but expensive nonetheless. In fact, I know people who retire, and usually it takes them about a year and a half before they come to me and they say, Shirley, I can't understand it. I've been retired for a year and a half, and I'm so busy. I don't understand how I ever had time to work. I'm so busy. Well, if you add up the time it takes to take care of all your basic needs, needs of, say, children who don't have enough at Christmas, and you took care of their needs by buying them Christmas gifts that they had asked for. So we take care of our needs, we take care of the needs of others, and that's kind of our whole life. Right? Well, but there could be more. Because you see, the language of humanity may be based on our needs, but the language of God is based on desire. God doesn't have need of anything. God is complete in God's self. God doesn't need us. God doesn't need creation and a world and a cosmos and minerals and atoms and water vapor. God doesn't need heaven, for that matter. But God desires. In fact, God desires passionately. So passionately that if you think about God as being like kinetic energy, that God is just bouncing out of God's self with the overflowing energy that wants us, that wants you, that wants a world, that wants to love a world. And in case you're not convinced, think about it this way. If you were to pray to God for all your needs, and then all your needs get taken care of, you have enough food, you have enough shelter, you have enough medical care, you have enough water, you have enough education. Oh, can you ever have enough education? You have enough education, all your needs are met, then whatever for would you pray to God? If all your needs are met. Because God is so much more than our needs. The language of God is desire. The language of God is love. The language of God is wanting. Wanting to be with you and wanting to be loved back. And so we have that wonderful Christmas hymn. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him in Christ alone. The hymn doesn't say, oh, come, let us petition God to heal our sister. Even though healing our sister is a fine thing. And the hymn doesn't say, oh, come let us ask God for our daily bread. Even though asking God for our daily bread is an essential thing. The hymn doesn't say, oh God, please let me figure out an honest contractor that I can contract with to fix my roof because it's raining mightily today. Even though that might be absolutely what I need. The hymn says, oh, come let us adore. There's nothing wrong with needing. God created us as physical beings in a physical universe and understands we have needs, and it is perfectly fine and most appropriate to ask God to satisfy our needs. But let that not be the limits of our language. Let us also discover the language of desire that answers God's language of desire. The kind of language that says, oh come, let us adore Him. Not because we need something, not because we have to have it, not because we've got a hole in our heart, but because we can adore, because we can desire. And in case what I've said doesn't make anything like any kind of sense to you so far, let me read you the Gospel of John. And as I read you the beginning of that Gospel, beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the plain sense, in the beginning, or in the Hebrew, before the beginning, at the head of things, because it was before there was any time, and beginning is worth time. So, before there was anything, at the head of things, there was God. And the Word, Christ, was God, with God, and the Word was God. And so then this resolves a conundrum for us. If someone comes to God, they have come to Jesus, because Jesus cannot be separated from God. That's simple. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. There's been not one thing that has ever existed that was not brought forth from God with us. We have all been together with him. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of some people, special people, reserved people, specially chosen people? No. What kind of people? All people. And the light was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. God is pleased to have darkness exist in the world, but we do not need to be afraid of darkness, because the darkness does not overcome the light. And then later, and the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. No one, it goes on to say, no one has ever seen God. It is God, the only Son, who is close to the Father's heart, who has made him known. And so if we come to God, if we feel like we've had such a powerful experience of God, that we see God, it is through the work of Christ, whether we realize it or not. Need? Did God need to share God's Son with us? Did God need to share that light? No. God desired to share the light. God just shared the light. And so we share that. Not because we need God, although that is true, but because we find in ourselves a desire. We give ourselves permission to do that most un-Protestant of things, to feel the flame of passion in our hearts that is a flame for God, and to burn with the brightness of Christ himself in us. May that be your work this Christmas tide and into Epiphany. That you would speak the language of desire to God, as well as the language of need. And that every day would be a day when you wake up and sing,